excited for some questions. I don't.
I
don't necessarily have an agenda, and I just feel like we just talk.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
We all know the subject, so
Yeah.
if we needed to take notes, we should go to Cody Sperber's.
We're talking about diet today, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm out.
See ya.
I am on that keto.
Hey,
Are you?
There you go.
Have you guys tried that?
We've been on it for 3 years.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Listen.
We
Okay.
could
No,
do
I'm
it.
saying it's like okay. Like I need your guys' help with this.
Yeah.
Yeah. For real.
Okay.
Really?
All right. So, like recipes, like getting staying like. So I've been 6 weeks, right?
Okay.
And Bob and Carrie started it too. What, a week ago? Yeah.
Awesome.
There you go.
So we're all just trying to like, hey, how do we
So
Yeah.
you have to open Facebook to do this, but go to Facebook.
What about Instagram?
No, it's not on Instagram. It's Facebook.
Okay.
So go on Facebook and do hashtag dining with the Davises.
Oh, okay.
Don't look at the person or there's like a page or something of dining with the Davises. They're garbage. Don't. But look at all the hashtag ones that are our posts.
Okay.
They're all our keto posts, the recipes, what we come up with. And we've been doing it for, so February 22nd, 2017 was my launch date.
Wow.
And I didn't know, there was nothing about keto.
Right.
Keto was non-existent at all.
So what was it called? Just like.
Starvation. No, I started, because I just knew internally that I needed to cut the carbs.
Right.
Like something told me just get rid of the carbs. And so I did.
Yeah.
And then I was doing the traditional like lean chicken and a broccoli or a vegetable or something. And it was awful, right?
Right.
And so, but I stuck with it because I had a mission. And then I went through the keto flu because I didn't know what it was. I had no idea what was happening. I went through this like awful like week. And then all of a sudden I woke up one day and I was like, I am in euphoria, like straight euphoria. I was a new person.
Man, I haven't hit this yet. What is going on? Stick with it.
So, and then all of a sudden I was just this different person. And I was like, I am not stopping this. Like, I feel amazing. What is happening? And at that moment I realized that there was a very clear connection between what you consume and your brain.
Yeah.
I had no idea that there was this neurological connection.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what interested me. So then I started researching what you eat in your food, found out about the ketogenic diet only through a book called The Grain Brain.
The Grain Brain.
Yes. And that book was the reason I started incorporating fat. I had no idea that you were supposed to have fat.
I was going to say, it's got to be the fat that does it, right? And also they say your stomach is your second brain.
Right. It is.
Yeah.
It's incredible because that's why we say listen to your gut. Well, your gut is actually telling you what to do.
You listen to like Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Oh my gosh. We love Dr. Joe.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to go on his week-long seminar.
Good luck trying to get in,
Falls.
right? Okay, so in February, he's doing an event in Sedona. I just looked, and he's only there for a day of the 3 days, but I was like, it's not sold out, and it's Sedona.
Oh my gosh.
So that I just looked that up.
Special guest speaker James Arthur Ray.
Will you send? Hey, can you send us the link on that?
Yeah. I found it on Instagram.
Well, that's why I didn't see it. That's why I didn't see it.
I think I found it on the Google, but no. So that's funny. We should share some books too. So,
yeah.
Definitely.
All right. So that we could segue right into. You guys just missed a phenomenal conversation about keto, but this is Truth or Comfort podcast. We're here with Drew and Recia Davis. They're local investors that have had phenomenal success in real estate investing in different parts of it, and they work well with others trying to learn. So they're educators as well. So maybe you guys have seen them. If not, Instagram and on Facebook, you should follow them. We'll put their posts here. But you guys, like, other than this fantastic, we'll talk about keto on another podcast. But if you could, like, share your stories. Like, if you could, like how did you get started in real estate investing?
Sure. Go for it.
It was completely by accident. It was completely by accident. I always like to tell people that we were just in that stage. Recia and I were in that stage where we were dating but not married yet. And we recognized that, okay, we're going somewhere and I think we've got a future. And she says, so, I want to buy a house. And this was 10 years ago. So the market was just in the dumps. I said, okay, that's cool. You can do that. But what am I going to do about my house? And the long and short of it was in this search for trying to figure out, can I turn this lemon into an investment? We ended up going to an educational seminar that was, free. And it was a jaw-dropping moment. Mm-hmm. And we just realized there was this whole avenue where wealth is actually created, and it was in real estate. And I'm thinking, geez, I went to school to be an engineer. That was going to be my ticket, the 40 years and the pension and the whole deal. And that was coming to be one of those things I realized there had to be a better way. And so I drank the Kool-Aid. I was sold. I said, Recia, you got to come with me to this. And lo and behold, we ended up having our eyes open to the point that we made a significant investment in ourselves and our education to go on this journey and say, we're going to slay this dragon.
Just real quick, I do want to talk about that real quick because a lot of people are like, man, I have to invest money. Why isn't this stuff for free? Mm-hmm. I mean, any thought and I guess I understand it. The longer I'm in it, though, it's like the more successful people I meet, they all have coaches and still around them, right? Because it's not like there's this massive brain dump that just happens, right? And everything, right? You still have to continue to learn, whether it's reading books. And I just find like a lot of people have coaches now, right? Even Tiger Woods has coaches.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up because we all know we went from the industrial age to the information age. And that's kind of where we are now. Well, one of our coaches just said, we're not in the information age anymore. We're now in the implementation age. Mm. And so the idea behind that is that there are so many resources out there where you can get all this information for free. You can go to the library and get all this information for free. You can go to YouTube University and get all this information for free. But how are you going to implement? And you're going to implement and you're going to stumble, but you're going to be able to implement and have success a lot faster if you have a coach. Right. And you're going to be able to know, okay, this is how you keep going if you actually are in touch with somebody who's been there or is where you're trying to go.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's obviously process of elimination. Like if eliminating kind of the trial and error, you find somebody that actually has been there and done that, right? And just do what they've done and get what they've got, right? But eliminate all the mistakes that they've made. Yeah. It just seems like, common sense. But I just wanted to touch on that real quick. I also want to talk to you guys about so what kind of investments are you guys doing? Are you guys, if you want to share, doing fix and flips, you guys do some rentals? I know the answer, but these viewers don't know. So just what's your guys' business model, if you will?
Sure.
Or models. So.
Sure. So we got started for rental properties and that passive income. That was what our goal was. And so that is just our bread and butter. We got into wholesaling in 2014, and that is really where we do a lot more transactions. That's the things that we do the most. And we've done a couple flips every year. We do about 4 or 5 flips a year. That's just kind of supplemental. It's not what we do in volume. And then we have, over the past couple of years, we've really gotten into investing in tax liens and tax deeds. And that's been an incredible experience.
Really? Why is that? Because I'm not a tax lien deed guy, but I'm curious. I'm naive to it. I don't know.
Sure. So the whole idea behind tax liens and deeds, so we got introduced to a man named Ted Thomas, who is America's #1 authority on tax lien and deed investing. And he's become our coach. He's become a friend of ours. And he has literally held our hand to show us how you can acquire properties for 10, 20 cents on the dollar. And we're doing it even though 97% of tax liens actually get redeemed. We're able to still take a couple of those out of every 100. Then that means you're going to acquire 3 properties.
Right.
And when you acquire those properties, we're into them for $11,000 and they're worth $150.
Wow.
We're into them for $11,000. They're worth, $100.
It seems like a horrible investment.
Oh, it's terrible. Why would you do this?
That's awesome, guys.
So it's that has been just amazing for us. And,
Yeah. I could see why. That's incredible.
And
How long have you guys been doing that?
It's been about, I don't know, 3 or so years.
Oh, wow.
A few years.
Okay.
So the process is slow. It can be slower. It's what you use to fill your pipeline.
Right.
It's what you use to say, okay, I know I'm going to have X amount of return on my money at minimum.
Right.
And then if not, I get the property in X amount of time. So you just have to plot it out.
So you guys, you do fix and flips, and 4 or 5 a year is a decent amount.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so 4 or 5 of those a year, you have your rental income. That's your bread and butter. That's,
Yep.
I like that model. I tell people all the time, like, if you're just doing fix and flips, like if the market turns, what are you doing to bring in income? That was a job essentially, but you have to create that passive income. And when I say passive, I don't mean like you're not going to be doing anything. It's still work, but it's not like crazy work. Would you rather be punching a clock or working on something that you own, right? So, but and then the tax liens, indeed. So that's really cool. Anything else? I mean, that's a lot. Don't get me wrong.
The other thing that we have started to work on is all of a sudden we realized in the past couple of years, happens to coincide with the keto journey, but in the past couple of years, we've really focused on lifestyle design.
Okay.
And deciding what it is that we want our lifestyle to look like in our day-to-day life. And then figuring out, okay, what are the things that I want to have, but I don't want to do?
Right.
And that's when all of a sudden we had these like epiphanies where it was, okay, is there a system out there that can do this for me? Is there a person out there that can do this for me? And how can we get everything that we want? And so in the past year and a half, we have been helping others automate their businesses.
Yeah.
And that's been huge because we've seen other people scale their businesses really fast, and we're able to just help them jump the curve of learning to set up systems in their business.
Yeah, help them get out of the way and maximize their time. I like it. And that's, you've been doing that for, how long have you been using the system for?
Gosh, it's almost a decade, but 8 years now.
Wow. Okay. That's really cool. And you're just automating everything. So basically through real estate and through automation, you're creating the lifestyle that you guys want to live.
Exactly.
That's great. I mean, how many people could say that? So it sounds like real estate was the vehicle, and to tweak it, right? The technology part was essentially the Encompass or Damon's product. So it's really cool. I mean, I like your guys' story. I love it. They're local here in Phoenix. If you guys aren't following them, you guys should follow them on Instagram and Facebook.
And Facebook.
And on, if you guys are doing keto, you guys could follow them on the keto too.
That's right.
And what was that one at?
Hashtag dining with the Davises.
All right, there you go. So anybody looking to get started, like there's a few questions I want to ask you guys. Mm-hmm. Like anybody looking to get started, what advice would you give to them?
Well, the first advice I'd say is that you want to follow an expert, right? And even before that, you have to have, I would say, the first advice is have a vision for what you're looking to accomplish, because, if anyone's just painting this field of, roses and everything, you can get there, but it's typically going to require some effort, right? So you got to have a vision of where you want to go with this thing, because you can just supplement or you can use it to replace and this be your primary thing. But you do have to follow an expert. And ideally, if you can work with someone local that is tried and true, that's definitely going to be a plus. And the last thing that I would touch on would say that you got to have some sort of system in place so that you can start to generate those predictable results from following the expert that's helping to guide you to the vision that you have.
What kind of lift do you think you guys see using the automation? Like percentage?
It's not single or double digits. It's orders of magnitude, to be honest with you, because when we first started to get to the point where we had deals or seller leads coming in that were 2 years old. Mm-hmm. And we had, in some cases, forgotten that they were on an automated follow-up. And they basically, their words almost verbatim were, I came back to you guys because you were still reaching out to me after 2 years. So you had to be real. And then I called and the phone rang and people picked up and I was ready. And it was just a matter of them being ready, and we realized half of this is longevity. Are you going to be around a year from today?
Yeah, building that pipeline and then automating it. Because how much time would that take for you guys to do that every single a day.
Yeah, it's like, oh, he's not motivated. I'm not going to take the 5 minutes to say, hey, how you doing? Is now the time.
Right.
Well, and so much with automation in the follow-up part, especially, is that if you don't do it, it doesn't get done. And you have to feel like doing it. Mm-hmm. And how often do we feel like calling somebody who's already told us no 5, 6, 7 times? Right. You don't. You don't want to call. You don't want to build that rapport. You don't want to keep that rapport with most people. Some of them say, hey, yeah, call me back in a month. I'd love to talk to you. And we have great connection immediately. But for us, it's more about, you know what? Let the system reach out to them. Let them get a text message from us. Let them get an email from us. Let them get a voicemail from us. And then all of a sudden, it just is like magic. And you have kept up with this follow-up plan that you don't even remember they're on until they call you and say, hey, I just got your email.
Yeah.
And, okay.
Yeah. You were like, how long ago was that? That's great.
Yeah. They feel special.
That's
you
right.
Can still think of them.
Well, that's the key, right? Is using the implementation age.
Yep.
Information and implementation.
That's right.
So, no, that's really good. I think a lot of people probably fall short in that. And the system that you guys use is obviously the most advanced one out there that does so much.
Incredible.
It really is. I'm going to ask you guys a couple other questions. I want to know, I want to know, but everybody else wants to know, what's your craziest rental story? I know you guys have to have a good one.
Oh boy,
I have a crazy.
Just real estate in general.
One.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So we invest in this tax lien, and when you're investing in tax liens, you don't necessarily go and drive every property because you're just buying the paper on it at that time. And so we get this one, and it's in Superior, Arizona, which I didn't even know where it was on the map. It's far out there. Yeah. It's 90 minutes at least from our house. And so when we start the foreclosure process, we're waiting to see, does the guy redeem or does it go through? Well, it goes through foreclosure, and then they say, okay, here's your property, here's your deed. So I send a couple people out there to start looking at it. And actually during the foreclosure process, but immediately afterwards, the sheriff of Superior calls me, and he says, Recia, do you now own this property? Yes, we do. And he said, okay, well, there's tons of city code violations on it. I need to know your address so I can send them to you. And he said, there's also squatters that live there. Do you want them off your property? And so, of course, yes, get the squatters out. Turns out these squatters had lived there 12 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
And so I sent some buyers out there after the squatters had been removed. I sent some buyers out there to look at this property, and they come back and they say, Recia, I don't see the value in this. I'm not able to pay what you're asking. This place is a wreck. And I thought, I know my numbers, and I know that I'm pretty solid on this. Okay, a couple grand here and there, but let me know. So I sent a friend out there to remove everything, to haul out all the junk that was there. So the squatters had no plumbing, no electricity. There was no kitchen. There was nothing there. And so you can imagine that they were just using the house and the yard as their toilets and to sustain themselves. And then also they had been hoarding, and all their trash was all over. So, the trash was up to here. There was fire damage, holes in the wall, holes in the ceiling. And then,
what was the value?
Right.
Just kidding.
Right. Exactly. And we were kind of we didn't have eyes on it. And they were dumping stuff under the floorboards. So they were lifting floorboards and putting trash underneath it.
Why not?
Right.
Insulation, right?
Makes perfect sense. So when I ordered the dumpster for this one, the lady at the dumpster place, she says, okay, where do you want us to put the dumpster? Because we can't put it on the road. And I said, well, just put it in the driveway. And she said, is there a driveway? Where is it? Which side of the street is it? I don't know. I've never been there. So just put it in the driveway. So she's like, okay, I'll pull it up on Google Maps. She pulls it up and she's like, are you sure? This house sure looks rough. This must be an old photo. And so then I pulled up Google Maps and I was like, you're right, it is old. It looks a lot better then than it does now. It was so bad. So they got everything hauled out. And as soon as we hauled out the trash, we were able to have, the buyers went back through. They were able to see the value of it. They were able to have a better vision of what they could do. And just so happens in that time frame, the guy next door sold his house for 130, and it was practically a model match.
Oh, wow.
And so we sold ours for 30. There was $100,000 there for somebody to play with.
Yeah.
I mean, it worked out, but man, it was nap.
And I don't think anyone went to jail, right? They didn't actually have to go to jail because we did send one buyer out in that process, and there was a verbal altercation at the property, and we understand authorities had been contacted. So there was no actual trauma that took place, but once the word was out that we were trying to do something with that property.
It was definitely the ugliest thing we've ever dealt
ugliest
with.
property to date.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's a good story.
Yeah.
I always like hearing what people's crazy stories are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we have an event coming up. I'm excited for you guys to be teaching and educating all the students,
so excited.
Team members, whatever. A lot of investors will be there. So you guys will be teaching these investors your guys' method that basically retired you guys. So this is awesome.
Yep.
And that's coming up. If I use a date, it will be gone. So, but if you guys are watching this for whatever it's worth and you're able to see this and you want to attend, it will be November 15th, 16th, 17th, 2019. So here in Scottsdale. Anyways, so happy that you guys were able to make it on today. I have one last question, but before that, I want to ask you, is there any last things that you want to say to any of the investors that are looking to get going investing in real estate? I know you already did, but if there's any parting words, how about that?
Excuse me.
Sure. So I would say just keep your eye on the next step. Just keep moving forward, because Drew and I felt like we were the tortoise in The Tortoise and the Hare when we got started. It seemed like forever. It seemed like forever for our first deal. It seemed like forever for our first wholesale deal, for our first flip, all of that. But then all of a sudden we looked up and we've been in the game a decade. And we're like, whoa, how did that happen? And how did it happen so fast? And then, we look up and it's going to be another year. And it's just, time moves so fast. So if you just keep taking consistent action and keep pumping the well, then you will get results.
And with that, remember, excuse me. Mm-hmm. Remember that in the information age, it's easy to get flooded with all the information that's out there. So just as Recia was saying, one step at a time, don't try to learn everything at once. Learn to nail it, then scale it, then you can move on to the next thing. And that's how you'll be able to build on your own success.
That's right.
Yeah, just to touch on a couple things. You have persistence beats resistance. I can't tell you how many people have sat right here and said, gosh, man, I wanted to quit because I wasn't getting traction. And it's like, you got to just keep going, because once it grabs,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
The other thing, to your point, is there's so many people that want to do everything, and you're going to, especially when you're new, you will never master anything. You have to find a focus, master that, and then move on to the next. And you can master several things and have, think about it like a tool belt. You have different tools, but just start with one tool and master that. I promise, it works itself out, but you have to focus on one thing before you start focusing on everything. So they've been doing this a decade now, and they have 3 pillars that they work on, but I promise you they didn't start with 3 pillars, right? So get the one, become an expert at that one, and move to the next, and then the next. So, okay. So this is a question we ask everybody. You guys have had some great success in real estate, right? Mm-hmm. So with that success, how many Lamborghinis have you guys purchased?
Still waiting to purchase our Rolls.
Okay. Oh, Rolls is better. The reason I say Lamborghini is because there's obviously local people that promote their Lamborghinis. Mm-hmm. We just don't ever really see their projects. So I always just say, hey, what are you buying into when you're purchasing someone's program? Exactly. If you're seeing cars and lifestyle, should you be actually looking at, do they actually do real estate? Right. So that's my point. So I ask so far we're 0 Lamborghinis on this. So I will, Rolls Royce, great. That doesn't count, but yeah, get the Rolls. Anyways, and I hope that seriously, you guys, I hope whatever vehicle it is, Lamborghini, Ferrari, you get that. but use your real estate to actually pay for that, right? If that's what you want to do. Have something, a goal, have a passive income in real estate paying for it. Otherwise, does it make sense to you? And the problem will be that once you get to that spot that you're able to, you won't be able to justify buying it because you could buy another property. It's this disease, right?
That's been our issue. I've been wanting a Bentley first and then the Rolls for years, and it's every time we think about it, it's like, yeah, but even though I can use the money from this real estate, I could do something else.
Do another property,
and make more money with it, and it is a disease.
It's a good one.
A good one to have,
So when you guys, this is real estate investing talk. Like seriously, if you talk to real estate investors, this is the problems they're going to talk to you about. Is not like, oh, let's go, blow the money on this because you work too hard for it. And once you realize there's a system, if you deviate from that system, it's pretty exciting, you guys, for you to be able to go, okay, we take this money that we just accumulated and we buy it again. It's a system, right? You keep moving forward and accumulating more properties to say, okay, well, we could do that, or we could buy this car that's going to depreciate. I'm not saying don't do it. Do it whenever it makes sense, but I'm just telling you the problem is real, because it's like you don't want to. So anyways, just food for thought for people out there.
Absolutely.
And I don't care if the Lamborghini gets you guys involved and get you up off your butt to get motivated to do the real estate. At least you have the options to do that at some point, right? So I don't care the call to action, but just make sure you guys get educated, follow a good mentors, and anyways, you guys, thanks for making it today. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate the time. So anyways, truth or comfort, you guys.
Thanks for having us.